lose at that
Oh,
level.
mate, I was watching that.
Yeah, it was
have you
cringeworthy.
watched the Louis Theroux?
I have just watched it.
I literally watched it last night.
Yeah, I watched it night before last.
And like he's got a little edge to him, hasn't he, Anthony Joshua? He's got a little bit of bite to him, which I think's like, why wouldn't you? But mate, if you've just had your head pounded in a fight, you're not gonna cope with that situation of losing your belts particularly well. You might not.
It's
funny.
It's funny that you say that, because I thought exactly the same thing, and I actually like Anthony Joshua, and I think that what's happened is.
Yeah, I think he's a humble bloke.
The media, it's more to do with the media has painted him out to be this golden child, which is, Olympic champion, role model, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. But the real Anthony Joshua was a scrapping, weed-smoking, firearmsy kind of scrappy guy.
Not firearmsy,
yeah,
surely.
Man, he was Yeah. He was in trouble with the police, with things like that. And
allegedly,
I think allegedly,
allegedly, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, And
I knew he was in trouble with the police, but
maybe I'm getting that wrong.
I didn't know if he was into gangs and stuff like that. But yeah,
I think he was definitely kind of somebody who would have been targeted. Like people do target. He's a big bloke. People target those kinds of characters, and I think he was probably
on that thing he was talking about.
Wiping out those
six guys, and he's got cuts all over, like still got the cuts from it. Hectic.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and I think that's what's happened to him, is that the media's painted him out to be, as I say, this golden boy. So when he's and to be honest with you, I would quite like to see Anthony Joshua, be true to himself and be like the bad guy, the bad pantomime.
I think he has. I think he is. I think he has. Or is embodying that a little bit. I think he is being like, not himself, but not feeling like he has to play up to the camera or like play up to the media. I think he is being himself a little bit more.
Yeah, and shake off that kind of like
good boy
thing.
Attitude. Yeah, I can't think of the word. Good boy kind of persona.
Exactly. And you see it a lot actually.
Yeah.
You see. Like, just take the music business, for example. You get kind of, if you take, I know this sounds like a weird comparison to make, but bear with me. You take somebody like, you take somebody like Britney Spears.
We're going further and further away from our topic of the podcast today.
We take someone like Britney Spears, and she kind of came up through Disney and all these kind of like whiter than white sort of things, and then there comes this transition point where it's like,
they've got to kick it from a child celebrity to an adult, and they've got to find their own.
And then they
introduce
introduce the sex sells mentality and all that kind of stuff. So I think Joshua's in that place. I mean, when you watching that documentary, when you watch some of the old fights, you just remember how like I used to watch him.
He looked savage in some of those earlier fights.
Oh, mate,
just like
I can remember watching him and thinking, this guy's 20 punches ahead of the other guy.
Yeah. I feel like he just looks like he's lost a little bit of his confidence.
Yeah.
I guess it's quite important, the confidence.
I think you're dead right. I think that's the same for anything, isn't it? Once you lose that edge, I think it comes down to it's like self-awareness in a negative context, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, if you're in that boxing ring and you're fighting, and all of a sudden you realise there's X amount of people watching you, and all those people watch you get knocked out last fight.
Mate, the pressures must be insane.
And this is what I think.
Imagine how nervous you'd feel.
And that's why I feel sorry for people in those kinds of industries. And boxing's one of them. Football is another one. And because you fall from grace is so savage. Whereas if you take a sport like MMA or the UFC... This is the Lost Man podcast, where we embrace the challenges and triumphs of being a modern man in the middle years. Join us as we explore the rugged path of growing older, wiser and bolder in a world that's constantly changing. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Matt. And together we'll navigate this uncharted territory with grit, humour and a whole lot of heart.